Hey guys, Stitching May here to do my weekly update video. You'll have to excuse the hair. It's raining again, and we were out in the rain earlier, and it's just kind of grown a mind of its own, and there's nothing to do with this humidity in these curls, so it is what it is. And so I'm here with my weekly progress video. I worked on 5 projects. I have some notes. I didn't take as good of notes as I did for last week's video, and I don't really have the time right now to research and tell you exactly how many stitches I stitched on each project. I'm going to do better next week, but hopefully this video won't be as scattered. I don't know, I don't feel as scattered this time. So anyway, I don't have any finishes, I don't have any new starts, I have a little bit of haul, and then I have a Pass the Stash giveaway to do. So we will jump right in to the stitching first. Not a lot on the life update other than that it's raining again. We've tried to start baseball practices. It hasn't worked. The fields have been rained out for, well, half of one practice. They met each other and that was about all they could do. And then tonight's practice got rained out. And then I am switching back to my old schedule. It wasn't working well, so hopefully my stitchiness that was, I don't know, it's been weird. Hopefully I'll get back to my normal routine and we'll be doing good. So anyway, let's just jump right into the stitching. The first thing I worked on, so last week's homework, I don't know if it was mentioned or if I had mentioned it. We had to, before the month even started, they had us list our top 20 whips, and I listed all of my year of whips and then sprinkled in some extra because some of my year of whips are each block of the Connie G Designs free 2-year sale. Each block counts as a finish, so I couldn't enter in all of those. But I entered in all my year of whips and then sprinkled some other ones in. And then they chose, because 13 has a lot to do with this book, you had to choose for me, I had to choose my 13th whip and stitch 300 stitches on it. So for me that was spangled. There were some other things that, like, if you didn't have enough of the whips, you had to like pick your one and your first and your third whip. And then if you only had one, you had to do so many stitches. And then if you didn't list the list, there were penalty stitches because you didn't listen to the teachers and you had to do more stitches. It was a really neat thing. It was because it was a short week, so there was only one task, but it was 300 stitches. And my 13th stitch was spangled. So I ended up doing more than just the 300 stitches on this. I want to say that I put in like 700 stitches on it. I'm sorry, I lied, completely lied. 590 stitches. I do have my mark. I do have my work. So I did take some notes. So this is by Long Dog Samplers. For those of you that haven't seen the pattern, let me show you. I will say let me enable you, and I don't mean because I'm that influential. I mean because this pattern is so amazing. Like, this right now is easily my favorite one. I don't know, I say that. It's one of my top three patterns right now. And this is what it will look like. It is I did get the PDF form, but I printed it out because I do so much better with a printout. But that is what it will look like when it's finished. My printer was a little faded, so it's not quite this pastel. It is charted in gassed, but I am doing the DMC conversion. And this is on 36 count. Yes, dear. What?
I'm thirsty.
You're thirsty? You can have some water. You know how to get you some water. Go. You know I'm doing a video. Please close the door.
Okay.
Stop smacking your gum. Boy. where was I? It is on 36 count, I think, raw linen. It was some fabric that Connie and I traded out. We both had some fabric. I think we both cut it in half and shared it with each other, or I had some fabric that she wanted and she cut it in half and shared it with me. I don't remember. We traded it out. We're always trading stash. This is where I was before. That would help. And this is where I currently am. I know it doesn't look like a whole bunch, but that is a whole bunch of black stitches. So, the reason I ended up stitching more on this is, so 300, at least about 300 of the stitches went towards my, homework. And then also one of the extra credits, there are two. There's one to stitch, 500 stitches in DMC 310 or Anchor Black, and then the other is to stitch on something that's framed because Sirius Black was framed. So I'm using this as the frame piece because, as you can see, this piece has a huge, very detailed frame. So I need to get, I think, it's not exactly, like I didn't stitch exactly 300. I stitched a little more. I always try to add a little more just to make sure. That way I don't accidentally, short somebody some stitches. But there that is now. So I will work some more on this at some point in the next 2 months to finish out the framed extra credit. Kind of threw off my mojo, him coming in. I don't know why. Not my mojo, but my flow. Mojo, if that's not the right word. Anyway, I'm not starting over. And then, so that was what I worked on for the rest of the weekend before I went to work. I got to stitch a little bit at work this week on break. It was an interesting week. So I did get to stitch some on break, and I finished. See, this is where it gets weird. It is a year of whips finish. What in the world is going on with this? There is a needle. How in the world? Oh, it's just through. Left my needle on my fabric again. So, it technically counts as a finish for a year of whips because I got to finish one of the blocks, but it's not like a big total finish. And I finished the, which one this is? And I will tell you. First of all, this is what it looked like before. I swear I've done a floss tube video before. I promise. Okay. So this is year of whip finish number 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 3 for me. Yes. Year of whip finish number 3 for me. And that is this February block, which is right here. And then I've started the March block as well under Connie G Designs. This is her free back stitch sale. It's on her blog. I've linked to it several times. I'll try to remember to post the link again. And this is the one that I'm using for my 500 stitches in DMC 310. However, because it is back stitch, it will actually be 1,000 stitches. But by the time I finished, wait, did I finish? Yes, by the time I finished this block, finished March, and by the end of April, finish April, that should be 1,000 stitches. And the reason I'm doing this one is because I'm hoping that will force me to get caught up. Let me take the hoop off where you can see this in its entirety. There it is. Ah! Now then. There we go. I absolutely love working on this piece. Again, this is a 28 count by Sunny's Dyes that they no longer sell. I don't know the name of it, but I know when I researched it, I did know the name of it. And I found out that they don't sell it anymore, so I no longer know the name of it. And that was that piece. And then the next piece I worked on was for my homework for this week, which was year 3, week 2. And this week we went shopping in Diagon Alley. And I had absolutely no clue where to even start with these pieces, guys. Luckily, Sammy J is the one who helped me with these. I'm not quite as gifted as a storyteller as Jessie Murray. So I have to stretch a little bit. I can be a very concrete thinker sometimes. So sometimes I have to have a little help of stretching these. And then when I went through these, I was like, oh my gosh, this one is such an obvious piece. So you had to choose 3 items that you wanted to purchase for your supplies. And each item you had to stitch 250 stitches for. Now, with that said, you did not have to stitch on the item itself. Let me see how many stitches I did on that one real quick. I may be able to tell you all the stitch counts without even knowing that I could. On that one, I have a total of 60 stitches, which would be 30. No, I've got more than that. Uh-oh. That's not good. No, that's about right. About 100 stitches that night. So, yeah, about 30 stitches. I hope I have enough to do 500. How many? I may not have enough to do that. Is it 300? I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. I may have to change my idea and go back to my use the spangled for the 310 one. I don't know. I gotta look at the numbers. Actually, I got it right here. 500 stitches. 100 per square. I think I'm gonna have to go back to the spangled for the 310. Anyway, so you had to stitch for 3 items, 250 for each item, and then it didn't have to be on the exact item. So for the first 2, I chose I haven't seen this in a long time, my Mickey Vignette by Thomas Kincaid. I don't remember, I call it the Mickey, it's actually Fantasia Vignette, I think. Vignette, and I'm probably southernizing that, and that's okay. If you're here, you know I'm southern. This is what it looked like before, and I did a little over 500 stitches on this one. This is where I am now. So I am almost, I would say I am a third of the way through the first half of this project. 11 math? I started in the blending, the tweeting. This had some metallic floss with it, but I completely threw that out because it was worse than Barbie's hair. It was stiffer than Barbie hair, and anybody that's played with Barbie knows how that is. But so I substituted. This is Balger threads, which is the same as Kreinik. I think Balger was the name before, and then they changed to just the Kreinik. I'm not really sure what color this is. I don't have the label anymore. I got this on clearance at a shop that used to be a local needlework shop, but now is mainly a framing shop. She doesn't even advertise that she's slowly selling out of her cross-stitch stuff. But it's kind of iridescent, kind of rainbowy. I figured that was very fitting for the rainbow. But you can even see that. A black behind it and see if that shows up. I forgot my white cards. But that's where I am on this one. I'm kind of leaving Mickey out. So the reason I chose this one is Mickey is wearing a robe and he's wearing a hat. So I thought that worked for both. Okay. And then today, of course, it's Friday. So Connie and I were able to stitch together. And I had, at first was going to stitch on Pumpkin Swirl for the Sweet Shop on Diagon Alley. But instead I chose Anne of Green Gables by Soda Stitch. This is what it will look like when it's finished. And the reason I chose this one is because it's got the cake in the, it's got the cake for the Sweet Shop. So there's that. In the middle, it's got the bed. That's technically, you know, where Harry had to stay for a while, you know, after he rode the night bus. And it also has the wine, or the cherry cordial. And, you know, you could always go into Leaky Cauldron. So there are several things that can be on this for, you know, Diagon Alley. I'll say that I stitched on the cake to finish it out, except for the back stitch. So we'll say that I went to the Sweet Shop and got the cake. And this is where it was before. I also used this today for my Monopoly piece to finish it out. And I stitched, I want to say, almost right about 280 stitches on this today. And I finished out the cake. I did not do the back stitch, but I did finish out the yellow frame around the centerpiece. I've seen it. I don't know why. For whatever reason, when I show this to you guys, I want to look at it too. But I know what it looks like. You guys are the one that needs to see this, so. And this is just stitched on some either 14 or 18 count. I measured like it was 14 count. Blue Ada. I don't know it's that soft, like Davos Ada, I think. And there that is. And then I was going to stitch on this more today until the end of the day. But we went on a play date at a local indoor playground. And I decided not to take it because it had a lot of colors. We had a meltdown before then because we lost a tooth. My son's not going to have any teeth left. Like, he's lost all 4 of the front. Some of the ones on the side. Like, he has to eat on the side. And he lost his final front tooth today. It's been very loose for a very long time. I've been begging him to let me pull it. And literally, my husband tickled it out of him today. They were playing around on the floor, horse playing, and somehow my husband was tickling him and managed to knock him just right, and it knocked it completely loose, but we had to get it all the way out, and it was just, he was flipping out. He wasn't expecting it to come out that soon. So we will have a visit from the Tooth Fairy tonight. So anyway, wow, that was a complete squirrel moment there. Anyway, the project I took with me that ended up being an awesome to-go project, and will probably be my to-go project when I'm not working on the back stitch. So, it's another one by Connie G, and it's called Flowering Flourish. This is what it will look like when it's finished. Again, this is for sale on her Etsy shop, and she's still currently having the sale going on. I think is it 20 or 30% off? Okay. All of her designs in her shop, and if you use the coupon code MARCHSALE, this is what it looked like beforehand. I had gotten in 160 stitches last week, and I only got probably about 30 stitches in tonight, because we were talking. It had been forever since we got together with these friends, and I really wanted to talk, so I talked more than I stitched. But this is where I currently am. I am using this one for the Crystal Ball extra credit homework for Magical Stitches. And so I thought the Crystal Ball was for Professor the divination teacher, Professor. Oh, it starts with a T, and I know it, and I can see it, and I can spell it. I can't spell it, but I can see it in the book, and I can hear it on my audiobook. Not gonna even try to say that one. I thought it was for her future reading, but I forgot about Lupin, and that when the Bogart came out of the cupboard that he saw a crystal ball, and they were all trying to figure out why he was afraid of a crystal ball. So I'm wondering if that's why they chose the crystal ball. Inquiring minds do wonder. But this is where I currently am, and this is stitched on the 32 count MCG raw linen. That was really southern. I'm getting tired. With DMC 4025, which is called Caribbean Bay. Or Caribbean Bay, depending on how you want to say it. But there, that is. See, there I go looking at it again. You guys want to see it. I don't need to see it. And that's it for now. Now, as far as haul goes, I have one item. The funny story about this item is I had bid on this on eBay. And I completely put in a lowball number that I was absolutely convinced that I would not get this pattern.
I know that. Can I play like Minecraft or something?
Just for a minute, Connor. Please close the door. Don't come in again. Close the door. So anyway, I completely put in a lowball bid that I did not think I would get this for, and forgot about it. That is the second thing that I put in a very, like, okay, I'm probably not going to get it for this, but I'm just going to throw this out there and see what happens, that I've put for an item, forgot about it, and then later on got the email saying, hey, you need to come pay for this. And it is Prairie Moon, an out of print Prairie Moon called Coat of Arms. I got this and the 3 flosses that you need for it, which are Weeks Dye Works Gunmetal, Weeks Dye Works Lancaster Red. I don't know where these, I wish I could tell whose this came from, because it doesn't say who it was purchased through. And Teal Frost, Weeks Dye Works. So these were, when these were purchased, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, I got this for pretty much the original price plus shipping, including the floss. Like, yeah, ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like, I didn't have to pay the out of print price. So I'm very excited about that. Now, I will say that the pattern, the cover page is kind of beat up, which doesn't bother me. But the pattern is, like, you can't, I mean, it's a little wrinkled. You can tell it was well loved. But it's completely legible. There are no markings, anything like that. So, but that's all the haul that I got, which I wasn't expecting that. Okay, now, for my Pass the Stash. At the end of my video last week, I inserted at the end that I decided to do a Pass the Stash. I've been meaning to do this for a very, very, very long time and have forgotten and forgotten and forgotten. I finally remembered. And I'm passing the stash on the Stony Creek Towels of the Month. All you had to do was be 18, above 18 or have a parent's permission. I think everybody that is on my video was above 18 that commented. And you didn't even have to be a subscriber, just as long as you watched. So this is going to be my Pass the Stash. I had 7 people enter. And I'm going to use the random number generator. I will hold it up to where you guys can see it, but then I'll try to, if it doesn't show up, I'll try to insert a screenshot of it. So between 1 and 7, not 17, 7. Our winner is number 2. You see the number 2? You also see what time it is. To crop that out. Because I'm being bad and kind of letting my son stay up way too late tonight. Number 2 is Mrs. Hercules. That is the winner of the Towels of the Month, Past the Stash. I do plan to do some more Past the Stash randomly, so keep your eyes out. Mrs. Hercules, if you don't mind, I'll have my contact information. Just shoot me an email and give me the information to where I can ship this to you. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing. Thank you guys for taking the time to comment. It means more to me than you know. I really appreciate you guys who have, gosh, I've made videos for like, what, a year now? And you guys keep coming back and watching, and I really appreciate that. So I plan to come back next week on Friday as well. I'm trying to stick to the weekly video thing. And I don't know what homework is next week right now. I'm off, of course, tonight and then tomorrow. And I plan to work on some of the March, April extra credit for my magical stitches. And then I'm also going to be working on my Stitchopoly for Semi-Sane. I didn't take enough notes on as to what space I landed on from last week. I'm going to do better tonight, starting tonight for next week. As always, guys, thanks for watching and take care.